Good day everyone. For today, we are going to discuss about political self. Political self is by reflecting yourself relating to your national identity. It started within yourself, on how you view yourself about your role in the society you are belong. Maybe as a leader or as a citizen. This is about your contribution as an individual in the civilization you are belong to. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to strengthen Filipino core identity, classify diverse Filipino values and traits, and reflect on your selfhood in relation to your national identity.
Okay, as a contribution to the group report, let's start our discussion with this question: who is a Filipino? Or in Tagalog, sino nga ba ang mga Pilipino? Basically, kapag ikaw ay pinanganak dito sa bansang Pilipinas, ikaw na ay matatawag na isang Pilipino by your citizenship. According to the 1987 Philippine Constitution, yung saligang batas natin, under Article 3 of Citizenship states that Filipino citizens are those whose fathers or mothers are citizens of the Philippines. Those born before January 17, 1973 of Filipino mothers who elect Philippine citizenship upon reaching the age of majority, and those who are naturalized in accordance with law. However, citizenship is not the only marker of being a Filipino. Culture and history have greatly influenced the manner Filipinos learn, lived, and behave to date. People who were born and grew up in the same culture develop and share common personality traits and values have been passed on that the Filipinos of today still embody. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang citizenship ang basis kung upang tawagin tayong isang Pilipino. Just like for example, yung mga famous or sikat na vlogger na napapanood natin sa YouTube or Facebook, yung content ng mga ina-upload nila is about Filipino cultures, yung pagmamahal nila sa mga kultura at paggamit nila ng mga lingwahe natin. Ibig sabihin, kapag mahal na nila ang isang kultura natin or ina-apply nila wholeheartedly, ay sila na ay matatawag na Filipino. Regardless of their physical appearance, kung isa silang banyaga or foreigner, they're still called to be Filipino by applying our cultures. Okay. According also to Eden Joy Pastor Alata et al., Filipinos are often referenced to globally renowned personalities like Manny Pacquiao, Lea Salonga, and Efren Bata Reyes, who have made Filipinos popular around the world through their expertise. However, being a Filipino is far more than just related to these notable figures. Independence Day and Buwan ng Wika celebrations prompt us to go back to our roots and reflect on this question. Si Pastor Alata, or isa siyang author ng itong tinitik nating course, which is the Understanding Self. Ayon sa kanya, ang Pilipinas ay naging sikat dahil sa iconic figure natin na sila Manny Pacquiao. Although Manny Pacquiao is a senator and now he is planning to run for president, and wag naman natin siyang i-bash kasi he have the choice naman we live in the democratic country, which is Manny Pacquiao is qualified to run due to his financial capability. Speaking to another different icons, ito naman si Lea Salonga, which is she is famous for singing any Disney movie theme songs internationally. Yung mga movie niya, siya ang kumakanta sa mga theme songs. And Efren Bata Reyes, or siya ang tinatawag nating nagbigay karangalan sa mundo ng billiards dahil sa na-acquire niyang iba't ibang mga international titles. Uh, Kaya dapat sila ay hangaan natin dahil nagbigay sila ng karangalan sa ating sariling bansa. However, being a Filipino is far more than just related to these notable figures. Independence Day and Buwan ng Wika celebrations prompt us to go back to our roots and reflect on this question. In this statement, dapat lang na magbigay pugay tayo sa mga bayani natin, nagbigay sa atin ng kalayaan mula sa pagsakop sa atin ng mga iba't ibang nasyon gaya ng Espanya at Amerika. Kaya dapat natin i-celebrate ang mga araw na ito at magbigay ng pugay sa kanila.
Okay, let's discuss about the Filipino values and traits. Filipino values and traits refers to the set of values or the value system that a majority of the Filipino have historically held important in their lives. This Philippine value system includes their own unique assemblage of consistent ideologies, moral codes, ethical practices, etiquette, and cultural and personal values that are promoted by their society. As with any society, though, the values that an individual holds sacred can differ on the basis of religion, upbringing, and other factors. As a general description, the distinct value system of Filipinos is rooted primarily in personal alliance systems, especially those based in kinship, obligation, friendship, religion, and commercial relationships. The Philippines is a lush island paradise famous for its gorgeous mountain views, pristine beaches, and rich diverse culture changing from province to province. While the Philippines may be well known for its inspiring beauty, perhaps the Filipinos' unique traits, reputable values, and laudable talents make the country a place to be. Tourists who has visited the Philippines can never forget the big and bright smiles that greeted them, the colorful and loud jeepneys, the common Filipino phrases such as mabuhay and salamat, and habits such as saying po and opo to the elders, leaving shoes or slippers at the front door before entering a house, and the importunate asking of kumain ka na ba, meaning, have you eaten yet? Indeed, it is a marvel to experience these unique traits of the Filipinos firsthand. Few of these traits are as follows.
The Filipino hospitality. The Filipino hospitality is something to take pride of. Filipinos have been generally known for treating their visitors warmly, regardless of the race. As one, try to get our best foot forward every time someone comes in. Not only is this shown through a good quality service to tourists, but also in our relatives, friends, and even new acquaintances alike. Many have been admiring this part of the Filipino culture, and that's one reason why people in the Philippines will love to go from places to places as well as the foreigners visiting the country. Especially when we do greetings. This is the first sign of a Filipino hospitality. If you could notice, whenever you go into a store or any business establishments, Filipinos would greet you with a warm welcome and would also thank you for coming over even when you do not buy anything. Next is the best china. Especially in Filipino homes, women usually kept their best ones in a cabinet. By the time a guest arrives, those kept will be used on the table to impress the latter. Third, free tours. Innate as Pinoys, We would want to take any guest around for free. And lastly, in foods and festivals, Filipinos are food lovers and they prepare a lot during celebrations. During these days, they give a lot of food out to the neighborhoods and keep an open home policy. In time, when tourists, especially first-timers, arrive, they treat them with their best native delicacies and favorite foods. The Filipinos, being hospitable, makes the culture of the country outstandingly distinct. It is never taught to an individual. It just naturally comes from within. The instinct to make the guests get the most out of one. Rest assured, you are to get your bound share of warmth as soon as you visit. One of a good example of this Filipino hospitality is when the time Typhoon Yolanda hit eastern part of Visayas. Most of the Filipinos expressed their way of helping on the Yolanda's survivor during the time.
Respect for elders. Acting in a polite way to an elder is a demonstration of respect. For instance, if you are present of an elder, be polite. This means if they are talking, listen. If they ask you a question, respond respectfully and with a calm tone. Do not interrupt them, and always ask if they need anything. Also, Filipinos greet their elders by kissing hand while saying "mano po" and constantly using po and opo in conversation. Forgetting to address older people properly will regard them as rude and impolite. There is also a wide array of references to elder people such as ate for elder sister, kuya for elder brother, tito and tita for uncle and aunt, respectively, lolo and lola for grandfather and grandmother, and manong and aling for older people outside the family.
Close family ties. Filipinos are well known for these so-called close family ties. It is giving value to the families, which are deemed to be our primary group as we interact more personally to them. And as in group, the group of people whom our sense of belongingness is strong. This is a non-material culture which has not been fully affected by social change as mostly of the Filipinos establish extended nature of marriage, thus not limiting the internal relationship within the family. Family is the primary agent of socialization. The theory on the 8 stages of psychosocial development by Erik Erikson begins in the family, wherein one would learn to trust. A society with families which the family members consider the family as the top priority is a society rooted in love. This non-material culture would definitely strengthen the relationship between one another as one cannot give to others what he or she lacks at home. On the other hand, it would also nurture a sense of dependency among families. How close family ties affect the society? It would either fill the spaces of the society with family having solid grounds, thus could lead to the society's progress. Considering that family is its basic unit, or could develop a mass of dependent citizens that will not only depend on their families but could further dependency to the government.
Cheerful personality. Cheerfulness denotes an individual's actual as a mode, state or habitual as a trait or temperament, disposition for amusement and laughter, including seeing the bright side of life and taking adversity less seriously. Trait cheerfulness contributes to quality of life or overall well-being by enabling individuals to positive emotions and maintaining them in face of adversity. And longer-lasting states of cheerfulness may be seen as elements environment of well-being. If you find Filipinos always smiling, that doesn't mean they're mocking you or making fun of you. They just happen to be a happy, smiling, cheerful lot. They smile when they're happy. They smile when they're sad. They smile when they're angry and well. They just smile by default. Filipinos are typically sanguine by temperament and sunny in disposition. In times of need, you can count on them to be fellows of good cheer, and whatever they may be going through in life, count on Filipinos to manage everything with a smile. The Filipino cheerfulness is an offshoot of an even greater force, his ubiquitous sense of humor. No matter what the situation may be, you can bet on Filipinos finding something to chuckle about. They have a knack for tempering even the gravest of circumstances with humor. You can find internet picture of Filipinos happy swimming and frolicking in the flood after or even during a typhoon. During blackouts, they will mostly likely try and scare each other just for laughs. For the Filipino, you can always find something funny if you know where to look. This implies that Filipinos know how to deal with setbacks in good spirit. It doesn't mean they don't take things seriously. It simply suggests that Filipinos can take on any challenge with a grain of salt and with tons of humor. However difficult a situation may seem, they can laugh it off and go on with their lives and with business as usual.
Crab mentality. This refers to the behavior of preventing someone from achieving something due to jealousy or envy. Instead of praising or rendering assistance, someone with crab mentality will think, if I can't have it, then you can't as well, and will purposely try to bring her victim down. And just like the crabs who could have escaped from the bucket if they only stopped pulling each other down, nothing ever gets accomplished. One example of crab mentality is someone who spread malicious rumors in their workplace about a coworker who is out for a promotion, even though they don't benefit from spreading these rumors.
Ningas Hugon. One reason why we sometimes exert half-hearted effort in our undertaking is due to this attitude. Translated to burning coal gone grass. In English, this idiom is meant to illustrate how Filipinos initially exhibit great enthusiasm at the beginning of a project. Our eagerness, however, fades away just as quickly as the fire is extinguished, leaving our work either half-baked or unfinished. Being Ningas Kugon impedes our path in reaching our full potential. One of the things these toxic traits affect in our progress. By exhibiting this kind of attitude, we cannot ever establish the trust of important people. The people that play important roles in our rise and fall. Our immediate supervisors at work, our teachers at school, our parents in a way by being only driven for show, I mean for a short period of time. When working on something, we are also failing and betraying ourselves. In our life, we need people to guide, inspire, encourage us along the way. Once they see and feel that your motivation to work disappear, it's possible that they will lose their confidence in you. They might see your behavior as a sign of surrender that will make them see you as a lost cause and just stop playing these important roles which will contribute to your advancement.
Mañana habit. It is ironic that the Spanish would accuse Filipinos of being lazy when they themselves taught us the mañana habit in its first place, known as tomorrow. In English, the habit encourages procrastination, an ability we Filipino have since turned into an art form. Even the most urgent of projects and tasks can be relegated for some other time. We are only forced to work on them when the deadline is near. It's miracle we get things done in this country. Another explanation on why we developed this habit is that since we live in the tropics, we were never pressured by the seasons to finish work before the cold months come in. With the warm weather, working under the pressure was never an issue. The mañana habit can seriously jeopardize the quality of your tasks and projects. Instead of working only when the deadline is close, why not manage your time better and work little by little every day to finish on time? For example, a boy was asked his mother to wash their dishes, but since the boy was doing his assignments and he still needed more time to finish it, he told his mother, "Mamaya na po, may ginagawa pa po ako." What the boy has done really is bad. Since rules are rules, they need to be followed, and leaving course behind may make them neglected until left tasks are done.
Filipino time. Related to Mañana habit, Filipino time refers to the Filipinos' own unique brand of time. This is known to be minute or hours behind the standard time. This behavior usually drives time-observant foreigners crazy, while we Filipinos with our easygoing ways have somewhat become used to Filipino time. It is still a bad habit that we need to be dropped. For example, when a meeting is supposed to start at exactly 9 a.m., the usual Filipino would arrive later than 15 minutes or more. It's hardly unfair to the Filipino to call this syndrome Filipino time, since this seems to be universal weakness of all people of whether nationality. We have to admit true that we Filipinos have made a status symbol out of lateness.
Being onion-skinned, balat sibuyas. We Filipinos are famous for being onion-skinned or easily slighted at perceived insults. While it's perfectly normal for us to taunt and criticize others, we can't handle the same when it's being hurled back at us. Incidents showcasing our extra sensitivity to insults usually involve a foreigner making either racist remark or a humorous jab at us Filipinos. True to form, our reactions would range from righteous indignation to excessive grandstanding. While it is alright to feel incensed, throwing a fit in front of the world would inevitably to do us no good at all. It's perfectly normal to us, Filipinos, to criticize and taunt others, but when it's being hurled back at us, we either can't handle it with a straight face, or we pretend it didn't hurt. Showcasing how we are extra sensitive to insults directed to us. Filipinos are sensitive to attacks on their own self-esteem and cultivate sensitivity to the self-esteem of others as well. One factor that could trigger a friendship or a relationship to end is when you tried attacking one's self-esteem. So this better be avoided if you don't want to sever your relationship with the other party. One great sanction against improper behavior is a sense of shame and embarrassment, but if that certain person lacks that, he's bound to do things against the other that could hurt their feelings since he or she thought that they're fine with it, therefore other people might feel the same way. That's the reason why they become insensitive towards other people's feelings.
Colonial mentality. Probably, one of the biggest flaws we have as nation is our colonial mentality, defined as a preference for all things foreign over our own, a negative trait we acquired from our days under the Spanish and the Americans. As a result, we Filipinos have been indoctrinated with the misconception that our culture is inferior to that of our past colonizers. Glaring examples of colonial mentality include patronizing foreign instead of local brands, favoring foreign values over our own, and even desiring to look more Western, think whitening products. If we can even have pride in our own country, then unfortunately we will always stuck with this self-defeating mentality.
Bahala na attitude, roughly translated as come what may. This is the Philippines' own version of fatalism, the belief of leaving everything to the hands of fate. This attitude, while not inherently detrimental in itself, is still a double-edged sword. On one hand, positive aspects of this behavior include belief in divine providence and national social responsibility. On the other hand, the attitude can also promote a sense of helplessness and resignation of one's fate at the local level, and a countrywide lack of empathy and collective action on the national level. This is also the reason why we tend to have amnesia over past wrongdoings committed by our leaders. We Filipinos do not say bahala na as our first option. We say bahala na when we have done everything we could do and the future remains uncertain. We calculated the risk and it does not seem to be in our favor. But we will proceed because much is at stake. For example, many of our OFWs decided to work abroad because they have families to support. The future of their family may change. They are not sure about their lives in other countries. But for the sake of their loved ones, they let go of their fears and let God do the rest for them. Now, let's move to Filipino markers. First, what is Filipino markers? It is a hallmarks of being a Filipino, meaning ito yung mga characteristics or attitudes na nagiging trademark nating mga Pilipino. The following are constant reminders of our nationality. We have the proverb or salawikain, superstitions, myths or legends, and lastly, the heroes and icons. Let's talk about the hallmarks of being a Filipino. Proverb or salawikain. Filipino proverbs, just like any other proverbs, are saying that conveys lessons and reflections on Filipino practices, beliefs, and traditions. Halimbawa, ang magnanakaw ay galit sa kapwa magnanakaw. To simplify the phrase, nagagalit ang isang tao sa kapwa nitong tao kapag nakikita niya ang isang maling gawain sa kapwa-tao niya, that knowing na ganun din naman ang ugali niya. Another example, ngipin sa ngipin, mata sa mata. Ito ay tumutukoy sa hustisya. Kapag gumawa ka ng isang krimen, ang iyong parusa ay naaangkop din sa ginawa mong krimen. Tayong mga Pilipino, mahilig tayo sa mga salawikain, kahit saang lugar. Kahit na sa sarili nating bahay ay nakakarinig tayo ng mga ganito. Next is superstitions. Filipinos also subscribe to their own set of superstitions passed down from generation to generation. Some of these may be influenced by beliefs of other cultures, but have retold these superstitions according to their own experiences, and they sometimes end up even more interesting. Halimbawa nito ay ang pagsaserve ng pansit sa mga handaan, especially kapag birthdays dahil pinaniniwalaan na ito ay makapagpahaba ng buhay. Another example is usog or bati. It is when a person with strong energy hits the child, then the child may suffer from undescribable feeling of discomfort. And the only solution is to put now into the tummy of the child. Myths and legends. Ito yung mga alamat. Due to the Philippines' rich culture and history, numerous myths and legends have sprung about things that are beyond one's imagination. These stories aim to explain the origin of things, at the same time, teach a valuable lesson. Isang halimbawa nito ay ang alamat ng pinya. Moral of the story is that don't disrespectful to our parents and never say mean words of anger and irritation. And the last one is the heroes and icons. Heroes serve as a reminder of true patriotism and nationalism as they have sacrificed their lives for the sake of their country's freedom and progress. Famous Filipino icons serve as important Filipino markers as they have made the Filipino name more pronounced worldwide through their own expertise. Dahil nga tayo ay nasakop ng mga bansang dayuhan, marami tayong mga bayani na nagtanggol ng ating bayan mula sa banyaga. Sila ay nagsilbing patunay na tayong mga Pilipino ay may pagkakaisa. Katulad na lamang ni Andres Bonifacio at Dr. Jose P. Rizal.